So greetings, cats and kittens. Welcome once again to Baggy Hi-Fi, this YouTube channel devoted to record collecting and the vinyl community here in the UK. Well, up to this point, I've made about 50 plus videos just with me rabbiting on about my record purchases, etc. But I thought it was about time to do something different. And for quite a while now, I wanted to do something which would be more collaborative. And my old friend, Ed Pinsent came to mind. What we were originally going to do was meet up in person, because Ed lives in London and I live in Northeast England. But then lockdown came along, so we have now resorted to technology to meet up. So I'd like to introduce to you, to the Baggy Hi-Fi channel, Ed Pinsent. And I'll just do a very brief intro here, Ed. It's nice to have you along. So Ed is, I say, lives in London, and he is a cartoonist, and for many years has been producing comics. That's an example of one of his comics from 2020. And since 1997, is it, Ed? So you've been doing Sound Projector magazine?
1996, I think.
96, yeah. So here's a copy of Sound Projector. This was an all vinyl issue going way back to 2011. Colour issue, that one, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, you got the colour one, blimey. Yeah, that was the colour special. Yes, yeah, I thought I'd reproduce all those labels and covers. Yes. In the full colour.
So I do recommend Ed's magazine, Sound Projector, but also I must mention his radio show on every Friday evening, sort of tea time on Resonance Radio. Would you like to say a few words about that, Ed?
Yeah, the Sound Projector radio show. It's kind of like an outcropping of the magazine. So I play interesting experimental records that I've been sent in the mail on a radio show, 90 minutes every Friday. Resonance FM is a very good art radio station, which is a charity and makes no money, and lives on the goodwill of its volunteers and contributors.
Yes,
like myself. Yeah, but it's a really great place for freedom in broadcasting.
Yeah, so please do give it a go if you don't already know the radio station and Ed's program as well. Very varied, I have to note, because it can be anything from black metal to David Bowie to improvised music. So you're going to be in for maybe some surprises, but nice surprises, I would say.
Yeah, I like to think so. Thanks very much, John. Yes, it's a very varied show, very eclectic.
Great. So I thought the idea for our first video together, we just do a recent vinyl finds. So I think we've gathered together about 8 records, and we'll take turns in showing them. And neither of us know what we're going to show, so it does have an element of surprise. I think all of these purchases have been online purchases because of the lockdown as well. So Ed, would you like to start? So
I'd be glad to, John. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Oh, element of surprise is right. And I think eventually this is going to turn into a real Mexican standoff, real duel. Yes. So starting off right out the gate, we've got Harold McNair with Flute and Nut. So I think I may have told you about by WhatsApp that I got this one, so I was really pleased with it.
Yes.
Got this on eBay. And I don't know why, suddenly you click on eBay and you think, oh, I wonder if there's this available. And I just had Harold McNair on my mind for some reason. Yeah. And there it was, and there was only one other bidder that I had to compete with to get it. And it turned up a very reasonable price, considering I believe Harold McNair is quite collectible now. Yeah. So relatively little known UK jazz player, flautist, obviously. As you can see from the cover of this one, he won an award, apparently.
Yes.
Voted Britain's top flautist. Where, I don't know.
It's quite a stylish cover, isn't it?
Oh, it's great. It's great. I think you can see how he's a really dapper dresser. I noticed the neckerchief, the double-breasted jacket. Yes. And also, actually, if you look at the back cover, there's a line drawing of this same outfit. And where you can admire the flounced sleeves, which seem to be de rigueur.
Yes,
so very, very good.
What year was that, Ed? What year was that released?
1970, I think. Yeah, 1970. So an RCA, but I think a budget label of RCA, International Camden.
It's a good find.
It's lovely, and it's really great shape and everything. It's a beautiful record. It's I have heard, but I don't have a copy of his other LP from, I think, the same year, called Defense,
Yes.
which is that is small group jazz. If you like UK jazz, you will love Defense. This one is playing with a band, or at least an orchestra, or there's arrangement credited to somebody called John Cameron. So you put it on, and it's like an orchestra with flute taking solos, and also the other thing I noticed about it is he's playing cover versions of songs which will probably be quite popular, like "You Are Too Beautiful" and "The Night Has 1,000 Eyes," you know.
Yes, yeah.
"My Romance" and so on. So it's my guess is that this was aimed at a wider audience, you know.
Yes, rather than a strictly jazz audience. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I think,
and so
we're all looking out. Well, fans of British jazz, which I know you are and I am. Really are waiting for more reissues, because some of these British jazz records are just so pricey. I mean, I think you've got you were lucky there. But, you know, looking at some of the Michael Garrick records, you know, that you can, I think I came across one that was like £1,000 the other day on Discog. So there have been some good reissues of British jazz, and I've been buying them, but there need to be more, because I'm sure there's a, real audience out there.
Yeah, fully agree with you there, John. Yeah, I want to see more reissues of this really good material. And you can get Michael Garrick on Vocalion on CD, and that's what you've probably seen those. And they've reissued a lot of other good British jazz. Certainly John Sermon has been reissued well, but Harold McNair seems to have slipped through the NS.
Right.
Two other little facts before I close on this one.
Yes.
Is the guy who sold it to me said he died very young. So it's another reason why I suppose he's collectible, and records are desirable. It's kind of like a tragic story. And then Steve Pescott wrote and told me that Harold McNair plays the flute on Kes, the film soundtrack.
Yes, yeah. Of course, and Johnny Trunk issued the Kes soundtrack on a one-side LP. Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's interesting.
I have heard it's very nice.
Yep. Good connection there, because Johnny Trunk has also done, he's done at least one Michael Garrick reissue, hasn't he?
The
Moonscapes, yes, Moonscapes, yeah.
Right, I'll show you mine. This is much less rare, but it's a record I'd sort of ignored for a while, because it's by Camel, but it's one of their later albums, and I didn't realize that Richard Sinclair joined them to sing and play bass. Richard Sinclair from Caravan. So they became much more of a vocal group. And I tell you, the reason why I didn't buy this album for a long time is because the sleeve is so horrendous. And it's Rain Dances. Yeah.
Rain Dances, yeah, great record.
That's a great record.
Yes.
But that awful cover with the airbrushed dancers and the child's face looking through a rainy window is just terrible. But quite nice back cover. And there's Richard, who was in Caravan. So it's almost like, sounds to me almost like a lost Caravan album, because of the vocals, I would say. It's probably more poppy though, because I think by this stage with Camel they were trying to be a bit more commercial, but nevertheless it's a really nice record. So that was off eBay, and that was quite cheap, and it plays really well. So I must tell myself off for ignoring later Camel, because it's a good one.
No, I don't blame you. I would draw the line at the LP called "I Can See Your House From Here," which has got an even worse cover. If you've ever seen it, the cover's abominable. Yeah, but no, I love Camel. I don't know about you. I think that the first 4 or 5 records are just absolutely wonderful, and especially Moon Madness is one of my
I do have that.
Favorites.
They're more mellow, I guess, than some prog bands of the era. Less kind of in your face, but good, great musicians. Yeah, very melodic. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, melodic, definitely. Yes. Now I know what you mean, and they had these aspirations to be a bit more than they were. Like the Snow Goose is some kind of very ambitious opera or something, isn't it? Trying to tell the story of the Snow Goose.
Yes.
In a LP format, but
I'm not so keen on that one really.
But yeah, they're not only good. I mean, they've gone through several pressings, but now original pressings are quite desirable. I believe. I mean, particularly if you can get a first pressing of Moon Madness
Yeah,
for some reason.
I've got quite a nice copy I just
Yeah.
bought in a local shop. It was one of those, you're looking through the bins and not really expecting to find anything, and I found a really nice copy of Moon Madness.
Excellent.
That's another quite bad cover though, as well.
Come to think of it, yes, it's
Yeah.
it's hard to make out what that drawing is representing, and I think there's a figure hidden somewhere under a mushroom.
Yes.
Yeah, but Rain Dances, I don't have it on vinyl. I have got a CD, but sounds lovely.
Yeah.
I really like the rain sound effects in particular, and
Yes.
it seems very naff to have rain sound effects on a Rain LP, but it works very well.
Mm.
Yeah, good call. Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
What's your next one?
Progressive rock.
Yeah.
This is Peter Banks.
Great. Yes.
His first solo LP from 1973, and it's on EMI Sovereign. If you know, but Sovereign was a short-lived sub-label of EMI.
Wasn't a budget label though, was it?
I don't know if it was budget. It was just dedicated to progressive rock.
Yes.
They already had Harvest, of course, but yeah, Sovereign is another prog imprint, which apparently didn't last very long. No. Anyway, I never knew about this. I just saw it on the racks, and it just sort of said something to me. Yes. And then I looked at the back cover, and I saw the lineup, and I thought, hello, this is going to be good. Because we've got members of Genesis, we've got Steve Hackett and Phil Collins. Right. We've got John Wetton, the bassist from King Crimson. Jan Ackerman, the other guy from Focus, who was not the famous Focus man, and two members of Flash, which...
So wasn't it Pete Banks was in Flash though, wasn't he?
Yeah, definitely. He was the leader of Flash, yeah. And there's even... there's one American Flash LP that actually puts his name on the front cover, saying, Flash featuring the great Peter Banks or something like that. Yeah. What else? Well, it's a gatefold. Nice. And there's a lovely image there which sort of, tells you, purports to tell the life of Peter Banks through images and objects. There's the guitar, and there's a bottle of brandy, and there's photos of friends and people and ticket stubs and objects of all kinds, telling a story about what it's like to be a progressive rock musician.
Yes, yeah. That's I wonder if that's been reissued. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I don't know. It never occurred to me to even.
That was an online buy as well, was it?
No, that's from a shop.
That's from a shop, right?
Yes, exactly. And it's as soon as I picked it up, the other thing, you may not be able to see it on screen, is the sleeve is textured. It's a lovely textured cover printed by Garrett and Lofthouse.
Oh, lovely! Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so all the signs were good, but as a record, it's not great. Compared to Flash or compared to Yes, it's very subdued.
Is it too many cooks spoil the broth? Do you think too many prog friends spoiling the broth?
Yeah, I would say so. It feels like a self-indulgent jam session of proggy guitarists getting together in the studio, and they are composed songs, and there's one called The White Horse Vale, which is very promising, and I love that area of Berkshire. Yes. And how can you go wrong if you do a progressive rock tune about the White Horse Vale? But it's pastoral, but it's melodic, but it's lacking tension somewhere. So I don't regret buying it though.
No, still a nice addition to the collection. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, this next record I'm going to show only arrived on Thursday, just this week. So I've only played it once, and this was an eBay purchase. So we're going into English folk rock here, and it's an album I didn't have before.
That sound you're ripping off.
So it's this. And it's on Ireland, and it's the complete Dancing Master, as you can see. And it is an album compiled by John Kirkpatrick and Ashley Hutchings, with an array of British folk rock stars, really.
That's fantastic.
Dave Mattox plays drums. So what it is, it's an attempt to record, but using some electric instruments. Fairly ancient English dance tunes. So it's all instrumental, but the tracks are linked by quotes about dancing by English actors of the time. So Michael Gough is on here. And it kind of works as a kind of almost like a concept album, really, because it's these dance tunes are linked with quotes from Charles Dickens and older texts about what happens when people used to go dancing and how they would lose their inhibitions and smoke cigars and wake up with headaches. And so it's and it does have a inner sleeve as well with the lineups of the musicians, and it's on that label, that island label, the black island label with the pink eye. So it's that.
Oh, yeah. So that's kind of mid-70s, isn't it?
Yeah. I think this is. I think Ashley Hutchins would have left Fairport by this stage, but this is nevertheless issued on Ireland.
Excellent.
I got the Morrison records because they're similar.
Yes, I've got them. Yeah. They're really great. But what you're showing me there reminds me of Ashley Hutchins did a tribute to Cecil Sharp, I think it was.
Yeah.
With mostly spoken word, and it's kind of like a meta folk record where I think he's assuming the persona of Cecil Sharp and even dresses like him on the cover and tries to follow in his footsteps. I don't think it's a great success, but it's really unusual record, So I think
Ashley Hutchins did dress like that quite often, because I believe that when he was married to Shirley Collins, I mean, all the photos of him with Shirley, he looks like he's just stepped out of 1820, because he really was very much more committed to English, traditional English folk music than the rest of the members of Fairport.
Yes.
Yeah. So
quite a scholar. Yes.
Kind of thing he really probably wanted to accomplish. But it's a nice record, and I got it for $1.49.
Oh, blimey.
I know.
Well, I love John Kirkpatrick as well. I mean, he's the king of concertina playing, Anglo concertina, and his solo records are also good. If you can ever see them, he's made at least 2 records for the Leader label, which is superb.
Yes.
So is it a complete dancing master? Is that like an early text of some sort?
Yes, I think with the way it's spelt as well, it must be
like a book of
how to do the dance steps.
Yes,
maybe with the musical notation perhaps as well. As I say, I've only had it a couple of days, but you can see you can see Ashley, he's kind of dressed old-fashioned style.
Oh yeah. He's got a hat and a waistcoat. Yes, excellent. See, he does it with so much more panache than the members of Jethro Tull, don't you think?
I think so. Yes, yeah. Which is I quite like. I know you don't like Jethro Tull, but
no, not a great fan. No, I have to admit. Well, great.
Yeah.
Well, how can I possibly beat that? So what I've got here is says classical avant-garde. So you don't have that much of this on your channel, do you?
No.
Classical avant-garde music, no. But I had to have this one. I got this off Discogs.
Yes.
But I've been kind of looking for it for ages because I read about it in a catalogue, which I used to get, and the person never had any pictures of his records in this catalogue, but he did have very vivid descriptions of the music.
Yes.
And I thought it sounded really good. So at the time, I looked it up online and saw this cover appear. I thought, oh, blimey, a cover like that and this description, it must be amazing. And it took a while before it all came together and I managed to buy a copy, but here it be. And you probably can't read it because of the weird lettering, but it's a German composer called Dieter Schnebel. And, these are some electroacoustic and avant-garde tape compositions from the late 60s, early 70s. And it's on the Virgo label, came out in 1976. And it's gorgeous. Really,
so you're pleased with it,
yeah. It's really lovely combinations of treated vocals, choirs singing with tapes doing strange things, and organ music. Really great organ music. Look at the back cover as well. It's even more alarming. Yes.
It's like make out thermal photographs, perhaps. I don't know.
I don't know how it was done. Maybe thermal or just very high contrast printing or something. Nice. It's so striking. So the Virgo label must have been thinking, how can we market avant-garde music to make it seem exciting and interesting to people.
Yes, yeah.
Maybe.
It could almost be a prog cover, couldn't it, really? So maybe it was...
Yeah, it could, yeah. I mean, it looks silvery. It ought to be silver, but it's actually kind of white and, well, off-white and black. But it would be lovely in silver, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Fantastic. Yeah. But there's a great insert as well. I had to make sure that the seller had the insert. Really striking photos of the
very nice.
the organ player on the front cover there. So yeah, really pleased to get this. And if you like avant-garde music, and if you've got all your Stockhausen records by now, you want to start looking for Dieter Schniebel. Recommended. Atemzüge, choral vorspiel.
There used to be a very good YouTube channel on here called Sound Strange, and it's all the guy who was doing it, who lived in Spain, has deleted all his videos now, and he often talked about 20th century classical music and avant-garde music, and he was one of the few people on YouTube speaking about that kind of thing. So he really is. It's a shame that he's not doing it anymore, but maybe he will come back someday, because we do need. It's nice to have more people talking about that kind of music.
Certainly, yeah.
It's an education, really. We need to know about it, because some of it is.
Yeah, I would agree. We definitely need to know about it. And it's one thing though for people to put complete albums online, but it is nice if people can at least bring them to our attention and discuss them intelligently.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's some great music that gets overlooked. And like I say, I think, Stockhausen, I mention him because he dominates German avant-garde music, and he's kind of like the first and only name that you think of when you think of electroacoustic and tape composition, electronic music and so on. And in fact, there were some other good composers too from the 20th century.
Sure, yes, yeah.
Yes. So right. Yeah, very pleased with that one, yeah.
No, that's a really interesting find. I do like the sleeve as well on that one. So the next one, we're moving back into British jazz. You might have this one, but this just arrived about a week ago. This is an eBay purchase, and it is a reissued album, so it was shrink wrapped, and it is Michael Garrick Sextet with Don Rendell and Ian Carr. So this is BBC recordings, which, as the title suggests, is a prelude to the album Heart is a Lotus. But the tracks on it don't exactly match the Heart is a Lotus album, but I was just playing this earlier on this morning, and it is fantastic. And it's on Gearbox label, reissue.
Ooh.
And the pressing is fantastic, really nice, loud and clear, heavyweight vinyl. So, this is the kind of thing that I would like to see more of. Really nice. This isn't in a reissue, these are BBC recordings which haven't been issued before.
Yes, I see.
The Jazz in Britain label has been issuing some of this stuff, particularly things like BBC recordings of these musicians from the 60s. But they tend to be really limited as well. So you have to have an eagle eye out with the Jazz in Britain label. And they've got this thing where you can subscribe to the Jazz in Britain label, but you have to pay something like £10 a month. So you can be in on the information when they release a record. So otherwise, you just have to keep on looking at Bandcamp, every week, and to see.
You put your finger on a big problem with vinyl. A big problem with vinyl reissues for me, as you say, they're just not around for very long.
Yeah.
And particularly not if they're record store day specials. They're just they vanish almost instantly. But you did well to get that one. I've heard Gearbox pressings are really great.
Very good. Yeah.
The production. I mean, don't they do a very the production chain is all analog or something? It's all.
I think so. Yes. Yeah. I was reading the liner notes, and it talks about they obviously take great care in doing these records. I think this one is still available, but the lineup is it's a great one. I mean, Michael Garrick on piano, harpsichord, Celeste, Don Rendell, clarinet, tenor, saxophone, flute, Ian Carr, trumpet, Jim Phillip on flute, Coleridge Good, double bass, and Trevor Tompkins, percussion.
There's no Norma Winston on voice.
There's no singing on this one.
No. Yeah, I thought she was on Heart is a Lotus, but maybe not.
But I say the track listing doesn't exactly match the Heart is a Lotus album.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, because they're unissued BBC recordings. Yeah. When was that recorded, John?
It's the But the album Heart is a Lotus was 1970, so these
Okay.
were recorded 68 and 69.
Right.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Hmm.
That's a real prize.
Nice.
I'm drooling over that one. I'm jealous.
Of course, also the jazz band label do a good job of the reissues. They reissued the Ian Carr, Don Rendell, Lansdowne recordings as well, and they seem to be disappearing fast.
Yeah.
Especially like Shades of Blue, you can't even get now, because that seems to be the most popular one out of the 4 or 5 that they recorded together in the 60s. So that's
it's ironic, isn't it? If there is a renaissance of interest in British jazz, I don't imagine them making much of a living at the time.
No.
Poor musicians, still, it shows.
And it's, I think some of those jazz musicians like Ian Carr, when he kind of went in a more of a jazz rock direction, I was wondering whether he thought it might be somehow a crossover really into a rock audience, because I know some of those jazz players did sign to sort of more sort of prog labels, like DRAM and Nova, and I think there's a parallel with some of the American jazz players like Miles Davis playing to rock audiences. I think by the end of the 60s and 70s, that seemed to be a bit of a trend amongst British.
Oh, certainly, yes.
Yeah.
I recommend hearing Major Surgery if you can hear them. There was one LP, and then just recently there's a live record has come out on CD as well. Don't think they're on vinyl, yes, but I'll send you the link in due course. But Major Surgery, again, rather obscure, overlooked British jazz, but try aiming for the kind of Miles Davis effect to some extent. Yes. But I mean, a key to what you're describing there would be somebody like Keith Tippett, without a doubt, with his crossover records like Centipede, and of course playing with King Crimson.
Yes, yeah.
Great stuff.
Oh,
well, it's a good one. Gearbox. It look, even from here, it looks like a really hefty, solid item. Feels really weighty.
Yes, the sleeve is.
Oh yeah.
Thick cardboard.
Yeah, you can hear the quality there. Yes. Okay, do you want another one from me now?
Please, yes.
Yeah. There's more progressive rock.
Oh,
this is Quatermass.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, so this is the Harvest Heritage reissue of Quatermass. Originally, Quatermass is 1970, I think. Yeah. And this is from 75. And I've always seen this one at record fairs, and even this reissue, they want like 20 or 30 pounds for it.
Yeah.
Just because it's progressive rock and it's Harvest Heritage.
Yes.
And I've always been a bit put off, but I finally found it at a reasonable price, which I'm prepared to accept. And very glad to have it. What can I tell you? Let's see. The original art is on the back cover.
Yeah, so was that a Vertigo, or was it always on Harvest?
It's always on Harvest. Yeah. And that is a great sleeve by Hypnosis.
Yes.
Of the really extreme perspective of these skyscrapers with these airbrushed pterodactyls flying about in this kind of valley. But look what's happened to the front here. It's just, I don't know what the heck is going on.
Right.
It's an airbrush illustration by Steve Newport.
Oh.
A
friend of the band, maybe just finished O-level art, perhaps.
Yeah, you get that feeling. Yeah,
I quite like it, but it's no match for the Hypnosis sleeve.
It isn't really, is it?
No,
it might grow on me. It's the wingspan of this pterodactyl, for instance, is not very ambitious. Maybe it's a baby pterodactyl because it's hatching out of an egg. Yeah,
I guess so.
And as an afterthought, the title seems to have been slapped on in the corner there. It's another triumph for bad design. Yes. But the music is top-notch, lovely Hammond prog. If you like the Hammond organ, this is definitely one to get.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm much happier having this than the. I have got a reissue on the Karma label, the Italian Karma label, which reissued all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
They put it as a double LP for some reason, so that they could include extra tracks, and in so doing, they disrupted the proper playing order.
Yeah, I don't like that really. I've got the Cressida album reissued by Karma, and that's just a single album, so that one's okay. But
Yeah, they didn't always do that, but sometimes they
it kind of
took
destroys
liberties, yeah.
the integrity of the original album, doesn't it? Really, I think if you're going to buy
Yes.
a nicely done reissue, you just want the album to be reissued. I think it's different with CDs. I quite like extra tracks on CDs. I think that works okay, but not really with vinyl. You know, when they make a single album into a double album.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, it's to say it's taking liberties.
Mm.
And yeah, I don't mind it on CD either. That's fine. Go nuts. But yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, lovely Quatermass reissue there. Very happy with that one.
Yes, a nice one. Yes, yeah.
Mhm.
I also think that box sets work better on CD as well. You know, if you're going to have an exhaustive, you know, different takes and different mixes and things, that's going to work better on the length that you can have on CD. And I'm not anti-CD.
Oh, certainly, yes.
I'll still buy quite a lot of CDs. But vinyl is nice.
No, I love CDs. With box sets, I'm very tempted by these Bebop Deluxe box sets, where they somehow managed to inflate a single album into 4 CDs and a video. But they are great records.
Oh, yes, I'm quite tempted, and I think you probably already have these. I'm quite tempted by some of the Tangerine Dream, live box sets that have come out.
Oh yeah, I've heard one of those. They're really good.
Yeah, because I think I'd rather listen to Tangerine Dream without any surface noise. So I think CDs work quite well for the sort of German ambient type.
Yep. Well, it also proves Tangerine Dream are a very good live band.
Yeah.
And if you let them play for 45 minutes, they turn in something very interesting.
Yes.
In some ways, more interesting than the studio records. So it's kind of like the Grateful Dead. I mean, there's like a million Grateful Dead live CDs now, but I think Tangerine Dream deserve the same kind of space to do all that.
Yeah.
So, I recommend.
I've definitely returned to Tangerine Dream in the last few months. Been enjoying them again, especially
they're great.
Yeah, especially the early ones. Right, I'll show you another record, and this is another British jazz album, but more in the jazz rock vein, and it's John Stevens.
Oh, cool! John Stevens Away. Yeah. Wow, great choice. So that is just a killer record. Yeah.
Great record. Yeah. I did, as viewers may probably know, John Stevens. A lot of other music that John Stevens recorded was a lot more sort of improvised and free, the spontaneous music ensemble. But this seemed to be a period of John Stevens where, and even the sleeve looks like he's kind of marketed as, the new Leo Sayer or something. It's a strange, that sleeve does not match the music, I don't think. But it's, it's typical 70s sleeve. I think it's from 1975 and it's a live recording. And it's quite a lot of groove going on here, I would say. It's much more accessible than, the improvised stuff. I mean, I think there is quite a lot of improvisation going on here, but it's more in a sort of a accessible jazz rock vein. And quite small.
It certainly is, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But it's really solid playing. I seem to recall the bass player in his band especially is really pretty punchy.
Yeah.
And the beat is really hard.
Yes.
If you compare it with Electric Miles Davis, which is I wouldn't say it's lighter, but it's quite different to John Stevens' approach. He's really slugging it out there.
He is, yeah. So this was an eBay find, and it was a lucky one. I just missed out on bidding on a spontaneous music ensemble album, which was on sale for £18, I think. But then someone got it before me. It didn't go up to, so just have to keep my eyes open.
So that LP is on Vertigo Spaceships, isn't it?
Vertigo Spaceship, yeah. But it does have the old,
the spiral on the cover, yeah.
Corner, but it's the spaceship.
Spaceship's label, lovely. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, I've got that. My copy is kind of beat up. But any John Stevens from that period I really recommend, and accessible, yes. Yeah. And again, kind of overlooked gem in terms of British jazz rock.
Yeah.
Good choice. Yes. Wow, you're getting quite a collection there, John, I've got to say, of really good jazz stuff. So how about this? Annette Peacock.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Yeah, this good cover, isn't it? Yeah.
Isn't that
great? Yeah. And Annette Peacock in the last few years has suddenly become collectible, I think. and some of the original vinyl pressings, greedy dealers are really cashing in on them, but I picked them up where I can. I haven't been disappointed yet. And this one's particularly interesting because it's almost a solo record. It's her and piano and a certain kind of synthesizer that she plays. But there's the percussionist Roger Turner, and he is associated with free improv that you mentioned just now. He's a UK free improviser. So I don't know how he ended up on this record, but it's a really good combination, very simple arrangements.
Yeah.
And this cover painting, can you guess who that's by? This is your challenge for the day. I bet you can't guess. You may not know, actually, yes.
It looks a bit like, Robert Wyatt's wife, Alfie.
Correct.
It is. Oh, well.
Yeah, you win. Yeah, I would send you a copy of this record as a prize, but I want to hang on to it. Yeah, this is Alfreda Benj. Yeah.
The clouds that gave it away for me, because there's that cover that she did for Robert Wyatt's album Sleep, which has him, floating on a bird in a sort of a pastel blue sky. So yeah, Alfreda.
He also did the cover for Fred Frith's Gravity, which is very nice. So this is on the Ironic Records label from Berkshire. This string, I think she plays a string synthesizer or something, but it sounds very weird and airy and delicate. And you can hear that on the Sky Skating LP as well from 1982, I think that is. This one's a bit later, 1986. But I recommend it because I don't know, it's hard to classify Annette Peacock. It's hard to categorize her music. There's a bit of jazz. It's a bit of jazz, and there's a bit of singer-songwriting and strange vocalizing and so on. And you could say it's quite idiosyncratic, but if you like, say, Joni Mitchell and Laura Nyro, you will like Annette Peacock. Any record is good. But I just happened to get this one. I have no feelings.
Well,
lovely hat.
I'll investigate. Yeah, and the hair's quite interesting as well.
Yes, blue back cover. Yes. So yeah, that's Annette.
Right. This next one is going off in a completely different direction, really, and this one might surprise you because it's kind of a electro pop album, and it's by Santati Etienne. Bob Stanley's band.
Yeah, vaguely. The name rings a bell, but
right. Well, Bob Stanley, who puts out millions of compilations of with Pete Wiggs. So the band was Bob Stanley, Pete Wiggs, and Bob Stanley is more a music journalist, really, as well as being a musician. And so it's a trio, very sort of popish. But this album, I heard, this is from 2002, and it's a sort of tribute to the city of London. So you can maybe tell by the brutalist architecture there, which is all the rage at the moment. But it just works really well as a concept album. I think it is linked with again with some spoken word stuff by an actor, 70s actor who links these tracks. So that's probably the surprise record in the bunch, because it is as I say, it's a pop album really. They did have a few hits in the early 2000s. They did a cover of Neil Young's "Only Love Can Break Your Heart," which that was a hit. I think it's at times they're sort of aiming for an update on the Joe Meek sound. Perhaps there's a lot of that sort of, but it's probably done on some sort of sampler. But it does have that sort of clavier line. And
were they English?
English, yeah. And I say this album is a sort of a concept album about London.
Yes.
A love-hate concept album.
Yes,
but it's
really good.
I kind of surprised myself by liking this really, but I think I must have been listening to it on some sort of streaming service, and it really got under my skin. It's the only album I have by them, but they're still going. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Does this overlap with your interest in Ghost Box?
I think it reminds me a bit of that, except it does have vocals. Yeah. So
it has vocals, of course.
They are songs. I would say they're, the backing is electronic, similar to Ghost Box, but it's much more. Don't really want to use the word mainstream, but yeah, they are songs.
Yes.
But
Nothing wrong with the song. Yeah, yeah.
oh yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But
Yes.
yeah, I reckon. So the album's called Finisterre. It's from 2002. This is a recent reissue on Heavenly label. So there you go. That's my pop album in this batch.
Yeah, the cover for some reason made me think of Parachute by Pretty Things. I don't know if you got one, but it's another great LP cover by Hypnosis, which it makes use of collage of urban architecture like that.
Right.
And it does have some kind of critique of British society in 1970 is implied.
Yes. No, I don't have that one. No.
Yeah, I recommend it. Yeah, if you like SF Sorrow, you should get Parachute.
Yeah, that's Sorrow. Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Great.
St. Etienne. Yeah, well, you got me there. Say, don't know anything about them. I just heard the name.
I think you're right with maybe the Ghost Box connection though. Although I even thought the sleeve was maybe by Julian House from Ghost Box, but it's not. It's
no, it's yeah. It's got that kind of feel though, isn't it? It's people deliberately trying to imitate a 1970s style of printing.
Yes, yeah, and it does have a textured sleeve as well. If I took the shrink wrap.
Oh, I didn't know they could still do it. Lovely.
Yeah.
Love, yes. As you know, love a good textured sleeve, me. Yes.
Feel nice, yes.
Okay. The whole experience, viewers, of collecting vinyl. You see, every possible, every sense is satisfied. Yes. Sight, sound, touch. Yep. You name it. Now I've got here Chrome. Yes.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Fantastic stuff. San Francisco electronic punk.
Yes.
From let's see what year. Oh no, I can't tell. I'm afraid by looking at it. No. I think this is late 70s, early 80s.
Yes.
I notice Red Exposure anyway. And again, another LP, all of Chrome record on vinyl, hideously priced if you go to a flipping record fair, and especially the very first one. Might as well forget about it. This one came in at 14. I thought I've got to snap it up.
Yes.
And it's ironic because I did used to have a copy in 1980. Foolishly got rid of it, and I'm so glad I've got it again now because I'm just right. I now fully appreciate the music of Chrome, and it's unique and it's weird and it never stops being weird. No matter how many times you play these records, they always just sound incredibly alien, and that's what they're aiming for, is this very alien sound. I think when there are solo records by Damon Edge, which probably aren't as good, but Chrome at this point is just really great. So that is on Beggar's Banquet.
Now, who's because I think I have a couple of solo albums by one of the members of Chrome, and I can't remember his name now.
Helios Creed.
Yes, that's it.
Helios Creed. Yes, yeah, not his real name. Really great. And I think there's the history of San Francisco punk still has to be written, and especially the electronic acts like Screamers and others like that. But Chrome, lovely. And nice and cheap, if you have me on the show again, you'll soon see what a cheapskate I am. I just can't resist a bargain. I hate to pay a collector's price.
As you saw earlier on, I was so pleased to get that John Kirkpatrick album for $149. That's the bargain of the year for me, that one. So.
Yeah, totally. Yes, it does make life sweet, doesn't it?
It does, yes, yeah.
Get a good record for a good price.
Okay, this next record is a sampler album. And there were many of those in the 70s, when labels wanted people to buy something, cheap to maybe pique their interest in their artists. But this is one of the really good 70s sampler albums, which I did have at the time, but I've just recently rebought. And it's Virgin Records V sampler, which is a double.
Goodness, I don't think I've ever seen that.
1975, I say double album. And it has quite a lot of stuff which was never released officially on album, so it's one to get. So Robert Wyatt's on it, Tangerine Dream with a track which wasn't released at the time, Ivor Cutler, Mike Oldfield, Kevin Coyne, Captain Beefheart in his dodgy period, Slap Happy, Henry Cow, and Clear Light Symphony, Hatfield in the North, Steve Hillage. It's great, really good.
That's fantastic. What a lineup.
Mm. And it's
I can't believe I've never seen it. Yeah. Oh, and lovely Virgin labels too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I really recommend this one. And the reason why I bought this, I mean, as I did have it at the time, I think it was probably only like £1.25 or something. It's one of those, you know, cheap sampler records. I think I mentioned this before on Baggy Hi-Fi, but Pete, who does a channel Sounds from the West Coast, he lives in Cumbria, so it's that West Coast. He did a video just on 1970s sampler records, and this reminded me that this was a great one. So it's the label sampler. But as you know, the Virgin label from 73 to about 1976 was a fantastic record label. I mean, it's all down to Simon Draper. It's not down to Richard Branson.
Oh yeah.
For signing these, actually, signing Henry Cow, Ivor Cutler.
Yep, and Slap Happy, and then
yeah,
and then either importing or doing their own domestic pressings of really good krautrock.
Krautrock, yeah, and a lot of it was funded by the success of Tubular Bells, the Mike Oldfield record, which stayed in the charts for years. So they were able to take a risk with bands like Henry Cow until about 1976, when they had this big purge and got rid of all their interesting acts. The label changed forever, really. But this is a nice laminated sleeve. You can see it's a bit wavy, but apparently when I was looking on Discogs, a lot of the description is of this sleeve is that it's wavy. So it must be something to do with the laminating.
Yeah. It's outside laminate. I can see the inside is unlaminated, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So that could be it. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Yes. But imagine, Slap Happy on a sampler LP. Fantastic. I just love Slap Happy. And as you say, nobody would ever have signed them in the 70s. They would never get signed today in a band like that. Yeah, just great.
I think they were signed because of the connection with Faust and also with Henry Cow. They just took a gamble with them, and we're all glad that they did.
Yep.
Yeah.
And imagine Virgin putting out that budget price Faust tapes as well.
Yeah.
It was a 49p album.
49p, yes.
Yes. Excellent. Yeah.
That's
that's great. You've won me over on that one. I've got to try and get a copy.
I think it's quite easy to find, I would say. Yeah.
I've seen Cash Cows. Is that a Virgin one? Yes. It's a very unappealing cover. And I've always kind of left it there, but I've never seen that. That's quite good. Nice pair of fingers.
You may end up with a wavy sleeve, but it's worth it. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'll take the chance. So, we're nearly out of time. Have we got time for one more record, or do you want me to stop?
Maybe one more record, just to be on the safe side. I've got 3 left, so I'll.
Yes.
It's your turn, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry. Yes. I'm going to do it very quickly.
Ooh.
It's Popol Vuh with, which may or may not be a Nosferatu soundtrack record, and only £10, and it's on French Egg, the Egg label, who also put out Richard Pinhas.
Fantastic. I mean, I love Popol Vuh, and I do love that soundtrack. I have it on CD, and I play it quite often. I mean, I think the film's good as well.
I love the film. Love everything about this. Love the film. Love the soundtrack. Love Werner Herzog.
Yeah.
But this is actually On the Way to a Little Way, which is the electronic side of the soundtrack. Yes. So if you want the monks chanting, which opens the film, I don't think it's on this one.
Or the classical stuff. Because I think there's some Wagner in it, in one part, some Richard Wagner.
Yeah, there's lots of other source music besides Florian Fricke. Yes. There's at least 2 distinct soundtracks to Nosferatu, and this is one of them. So I always just buy them on principle, just think eventually the jigsaw puzzle will make sense.
Yes, I'm envious of that one, because I don't have any. I think I only have one Popol Vuh on vinyl. The rest is CD. But then again,
there's some good vinyl reissues apparently.
Yeah,
quite expensive in recent years.
There was a box set.
The box set. Yes,
was very lucky, because I think it was about £100 and something, and he looked on Amazon one day, and it mustn't have been selling very well, and it was reduced to 60 odd pounds, and he snapped it up. So he was very lucky there with the Popol Vuh vinyl box set.
Excellent.
Right, I'll show my last record.
Go ahead.
We will be doing this again. doing another video, I hope. Yeah.
I'd love to. I'd absolutely love to. Yes, yes. Actually, now we can make this this internet technology work. A couple of old fogies like us.
That's right. So my last album is a soundtrack album, and I wasn't aware that this was still available. And it's the Prisoner, but it's not the Bam Caruso one, because in the 80s, the great label Bam Caruso issued an album of the soundtrack music by Ron Grainer.
They did.
But this one,
yeah, I've got that.
This is a recent one on the Network label, which mainly put out DVDs of British movies. So I snapped this one up, and because I don't have the Bam Caruso one. And last summer, or about September, I did rewatch the entire series of The Prisoner, and it was even better than the first time round. Even though
great.
Yeah, it's psychedelic TV, and nice to have the soundtrack.
Totally lovely cover on that one too. I like that.
Nice, and like the back photo as well. Quite nice.
Yep. Yeah, it looks like Rover just appearing at the fountain there.
Yes,
on the front.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes. Menacingly appearing. Excellent. No, I love The Prisoner. Absolutely love it.
Yes.
I was around when it was first broadcast, but when I really got into it was when it was repeated for the first time in 1976, 77.
Channel, no, it wouldn't be Channel 4 then, would it? No.
No, ITV, I think.
Yeah.
And that's when I really thought, this is great. You know, I don't understand it, but it's really exciting and strange. And I saw it in black and white because we didn't have a color TV. But there is a restored version now where they've restored the colors and the soundtrack to perfection, and you can get that on DVD or Blu-ray. It looks magnificent.
Yes.
Yeah, because it was shot on film. You see, it wasn't shot in the studio.
Yeah. So they must have had quite a big budget, I would say. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Patrick McGowan was a big shot. You know, he was quite a big star, and apparently, the story of it is that he had to go away. There was a big break in the middle of the shooting schedule for The Prisoner, so that he could go and make Ice Station Zebra.
Right.
So he did his work there in Hollywood and came back and had some more money to plow back into the Prisoner project, I assume. But he was quite a big shot, I think.
I did watch a few of the Danger Man episodes, but I watched the early ones, which are they're enjoyable, but they're fairly conventional. But I believe they get a bit more strange towards the later episodes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, they are more conventional. Yes,
they become a bit more, surreal. But I'll have to catch up with those.
Yep. That Network label who did your LP also did. There's 3 CDs they put out, which I think is all the incidental music from The Prisoner, including all the library music that they took, from Chapel Library or KPN or whatever they come from. I'm not a library music expert.
No.
But those are really good.
Yes. Oh, great. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So shall we draw this to a close? Now. Hope people have enjoyed watching this. The Sound Projector Baggy Hi-Fi Summit #1. So I'll just say
yes.
Thanks,
Ed. I can't wait for #2.
Yeah. Thanks, Ed, for joining Baggy Hi-Fi this time round, and we'll do this again. And thanks to everyone for watching. This won't be the next Baggy Hi-Fi video. This will probably go out in about a week's time. So stay tuned, and thanks everyone for watching, and bye for now. And bye, Ed.
Okay. Thank you, John. Thanks for having me on. Bye now.
Right.